الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله الحمد لله الذي أنعم وهدى الحمد لله الذي أعطى خلقه كل شيء ثم هدى الحمد لله غفار لمن تاب وآمن وعمل صالحا ثم اهتدى الحمد لله على ما قضى وكل الذي قضاه فيه الرضا الحمد لله كما يحب ربنا ويرضى اللهم لك الحمد على نعمة الإسلام والإيمان ولك الحمد أن جعلتنا من أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الأمة اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. Dear brothers and sisters, for today's khutbah, let us go back into the best of seerahs, into the best of stories, the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And as we all know, in the beginning of the da'wah, he was prosecuted through physically, emotionally, mentally, from the people close to him. The most people that were so close to him, he was prosecuted. And the people who were the early Muslims that became Muslim with him, they were also prosecuted. They were boycotted. They were killed. We know the story of Bilal and what happened to him. The mothers and the women the stories that we hear about them. The Muslims were surely prosecuted in the beginning of times. And then we know that he went to Ta'if after that, because in Mecca, no one was listening to the da'wah, or just a few circles. What happened? We know the story of Ta'if. When he walked in and the kids were stoning him. What happened after that? He goes and he sits down, and then we know the angel comes down to him and he said, if you want, this mountain could destroy them. What did our Habib say? What did our beloved say? He said, no, لَعَلَّ مِنْهُمْ, they become Muslims. And now we look at Ta'if today, 1.2 million Muslims. That is our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So without further more to do, in today's khutbah we will talk about forgiving people, not having haqd in your heart. Have that power. We will not have the same thing that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had, but we can strive to it. For to be prosecuted, killed, lied, slandered, guts thrown at you. Your closest people that you're powerless, they can't even eat and feed their children, and you can do nothing. And you run away and the children are stoning you, and you have the power to destroy the entire town. And you say, forgive them. Maybe some of them will become Muslim. He didn't say the whole town will become Muslim. He said maybe some of them will become Muslim. And with that, in our communities, we have blood brothers and sisters who ate from the same plate, grew up in the same room, slept in the same room, coming from the same womb. What happens? They leave each other and they dispute over money, and they leave each other and they don't talk to each other for months and years. Over what? A wife dispute, money, land. And that's our blood brothers and sisters. Forget about the kafirs that were destroying the people and killing them. So that's what we've been talking about today, inshallah. قال الله عز وجل, Surah Al-Taghabun, verse 14, وَإِن تَعْفُوا وَتَصْفَحُوا وَتَغْفِرُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If you pardon and overlook and forgive, then indeed Allah is forgiving and merciful. And from this we can learn the essential lesson for our lives. SubhanAllah, dear brothers and sisters, wouldn't you love for Allah to forgive you? Why can't you forgive your Muslim brothers and sisters? These are the ummah that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, if one part hurts, it's like a body. If one part hurts, the whole body should be in pain. Yet for sometimes with the smallest disputes, even in the masjid, we have people gossiping, slandering each other. Where is that pure heart, dear brothers and sisters? Where is that pure heart that we should be striving for? We have the prophets, we can learn from them. And that is the best of stories to learn from. We have Prophet Ibrahim with his father, where even after he was kicked out and his own father was with the plan of throwing him in the whole fire, with him he was saying, "Oh Allah, please, how can I enter him into Jannah?" And he was crying when Allah told him, he's not Muslim, he cannot enter. That's when his own father told him, "Let me throw you in the hellfire." And we're talking about brothers and sisters. This is the father relationship. And then another ayah and another verse. وَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. And let them pardon and overlook. Wouldn't you love for Allah to forgive you? Wouldn't you love for Allah to pardon you? Allah is the Ghafur Rahim. You wish that Allah forgives your mountains of sins, but something small with your brother, you hold it in your heart and you walk around with it. Why? Why, dear brothers and sisters? There's a hadith on Anas ibn Malik where the Prophet ﷺ said that you have these two men from the ummah and they show up before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they're on the qantara, which is they've passed everything. They passed the salat, they're almost at the doors of Jannah. Right? One man says, this person has transgressed me in the dunya, he has wronged me, and I still hold it until now. After everything, imagine, what has he done for that man to hold it against Allah after, he's right there, about to enter Jannah. And you know what he says? I want all his good deeds. So that guy's going to be thrown in hellfire. I want all his good deeds. And mind you, this isn't the mizan, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need these good deeds. Jannah is right there, and the brother is standing with him. And he says, you know this guy, I want all his good deeds for what he has done to me in the dunya. Now, before I even continue the rest of the hadith, imagine you're in that situation. Who have you wronged to maybe that little thing that you did with them, and you just let it be, and you haven't asked for forgiveness? Imagine they do that to you on the Day of Judgment. Or you've passed the sirat and you're happy, your mizan is on the right is filled, and now you're in front of the Jannah and some guy, Allah calls you up and He says, this guy wants all your good deeds. What are you going to do in that moment? We make these little slandering things, these problems with our people, we think it's light. You don't know what's inside the other person's heart, so be careful what you do in your interactions. Be careful what you have between each other, because you never know. And that's not even the point of this hadith, but that's a point to be learned. And the hadith goes on and he says, how do you deal with your brother when there's no good deeds left for him? How? You're going to let your brother go to hellfire? He's going to have no good deeds left. He said, oh Lord, let him carry some of my burdens. Imagine, dear brothers and sisters. I know, subhanAllah, this is a group of beautiful men. But in this world, there's people who let each other there's a problem and they let it go. Deal with it in front of Allah. They don't want to deal with it in this dunya when the small problems are nothing compared to what happens in the hereafter. Imagine standing over Allah. What are you going to be like? And your good deeds are about to be gone. Your entire dunya's work is going to be gone because you transgressed someone. It's not a light matter. So he says, let him carry some of my burdens. Dear brothers and sisters, we don't know what's in the hearts of others, so be careful. So he says, now subhanAllah, in the eyes of the messenger, as he's relaying the story to the companions, he starts tearing up. He starts tearing up. May Allah's blessings and prayers be on him. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. He said, this is a great day that people need to bear their burdens. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's telling the companions, be careful, you don't want to be in that same position. And he's tearing up because he knows the severity of it. And that's the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallu ala Habib, your brothers and sisters. So then, the guy, Allah Azza wa Jal, he tells the guy that he wants to take the other person's good deeds, and he says, look at the Jannah. And he sees palaces of gold and diamond and pearls and hur al-'ain, and he sees all the blessings of Jannah. Right? He sees everything in it. Right? And the guy's like, to which prophet is this? To which guy is this? Right? Who's going to be taking all these blessings, the palaces and pearls, things we can't even imagine? We don't know what he saw. But in the hadith he says pure cities of pearls and gold. And he says, to which martyr is this? To which sheikh is this? To who is able to attain all of this? And guess what happened? For a period of time, well, short in the hadith, he says, you know who? The person who forgives his brother when he has transgressed him. Imagine. This guy's looking at it, he thinks it's for a prophet. The person that's going to take all these things is a prophet, or a martyr, or a shaheed, or a sheikh, or a alim. He says, no. Forgive your brother and this is all yours. Guess what the person does? He takes the guy that has transgressed him in the dunya, and he wants, 2 seconds ago, he just wanted to take all his good deeds. He held him from his hand and he enters Jannah. Both of them. SubhanAllah. That is the severity of the matter. That's how deep it is. It says in the Quran, أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Wouldn't you love for Allah to forgive you? Forgive your dear brothers and sisters. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Now the first part of the khutbah, we're talking about forgiving, right? Forgiving your Muslim brother if he has transgressed you. And I forgot to mention the part of the hadith where it says 3 days, and many of us overlook this hadith. We think it's just the act of sunnah. It's after those 3 days you start gaining up sayyat. What about the brothers and sisters that leave each other for years? And let's not even mention the ones that leave their mothers for wife problems or parent problems. Their parents who have raised them. Let's not even mention that, because that's a whole different story of honoring the parents. Now, for the second part, I want to talk about the people who hold a grudge. You know, these are not the people that are going to leave you for a year and not mention. At least you know they don't want to talk to you. No, these are the people that are going to say, "Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh," and they're smiling at you, but in their heart, against you is a small grudge. Or even you're going and you're dealing with your brother, and you're saying salam with them, and you're sitting and you're talking, you're smiling. Oh, you got a new house, mashallah, but you're inside. Why him? Why can I have that house? Or a car, or the student just entered the college, and you're like, yeah, mashallah, but you don't mean it inside of you. And this, obviously, we're human beings, right? So let's talk about how we can purify our hearts. How we can purify our hearts and not have this toxic trait in ourselves. Number one, you have to understand the person that gave him this rizq is the same Lord, and Allah has the rizq that you have. So why are you looking at other person's rizq? The same Lord that gave him this rizq is your Lord. So raise your hand and ask the one who gave. Right? Why are we looking at other people's blessings when the same Lord that gave him this blessing, you have the ability to raise your hand and make dua, even though your rizq was written according to your action, according to your dua, according to your jihad. Why have this toxic trait in ourselves? Be happy for him. Be happy for him. We always tell our little brothers and sisters, we learn it in school, love for yourself what you would love for your brother. But when it comes time when I have it, I'm like, I would rather have this with me. I'll give him some, but I want to be the one with this. For example, a business idea or something comes up. We have this trait, we want to just keep it for ourselves. And then we wonder why the Muslim Ummah is collapsing here and left and right. Because we want to just keep it for ourselves, that blessing. And when someone else has it, we think, why can I not have it? And forget that same Lord is the one who gives to us. And sometimes it's not about blessings and having something and they hold a grudge. You're in the masjid, for example, or in your daily life, and there's some problem that causes between you. You're like, oh, it's okay. But then in yourself, you really weren't okay with it. He makes a joke about your body or something, and you laugh it off, and you continue with it. This is a toxic trait for both of you, because you're going to take this to the day of judgment, and that's what's going to happen, and you don't want to stand in front of Allah with that. And at the same time, it's bad for him, because he doesn't know you wronged him. He thinks you are good because you're both smiling at each other. And that in itself is a toxic trait. And that's why you have to follow with the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If there's something between you, go and address the person. Go and talk about it. Go sit down and have a nice, say, dear brother, this happened between me. If he is smiling with you, and then he thinks he's okay with it, you have to address him for the both of you. For both of you. Alright, now let's just list some things that will help us forgive faster and have a pure heart, inshallah. The first thing is we should lessen from in unnecessary competition, right? Even by competition, it doesn't mean we're in a competition and we're debating. No, not this type of competition. Oh, he got a nice house, I'm going to get a nicer house. Oh, he did this, I want to do this. Oh, he did this, I want to do that. No. Everyone should have their own life, and he has their own life, and I'm competing to be better in my life, not with whatever he's doing. That's the first thing. Because he said in the hadith, قال الغزالي, not a hadith, قال الغزالي وأشد الأسباب لأثرة الحقد في القلب هي المنافسة, the unnecessary competition. Because he does it, you have more help in your heart. This is more help in your heart. And at the end of the day, it's خلق الإنسان ضعيفا. You're a human being. If you put yourself in this situation, you're going to have some sort of help in your heart. The second one, كثرة المزح. And this one is really important, especially with the youth. What is that? Excessive joking. Right? We can joke and joke and joke. For example, we can tell this brother, oh, by the way, look at you. Look how you're built. Look how you look. He's going to laugh with you, and he's going to go home, look in front of the mirror, and you don't know how he's feeling inside his heart. You don't know the pain that he has in his heart. And that, he can take it to Yawm al-Qiyamah, and you're going to be looking at your good deeds. What happened to them? Why is it empty? Because of that little pain that you have inflicted on that person. So don't laugh. And then Umar ibn Khattab, he has said, كثرة المزح, it's not a hadith by the Prophet, but he said, we know this, and I've said this many times, if I got you a cup of salt, would you pour the whole thing on your food? No, you would pour a little bit. So a little bit in the correct manner, yes, you could joke around. But doing too much, that's unnecessary. So that's the second one. Too much joking. Al-khusuma. And this is, for example, I wronged you and we just spread ways and he goes from this door and exit from this door. Oh, I see him, I don't want to pray. He comes to this masjid, now let me go to another masjid. That is wrong for the Muslims. Because you just, that hit starts from a little to much, until it goes from this small to this big of a problem. Why? Because you never addressed it and you were too scared and you're just looking another way. So that's called a khusum. And then the third one is rivalism. When you rival with someone, for example, it starts out as you're both in a competition. For example, two brothers, I know them. They're going to the gym, right? They started off together, and now they became a rivalry. It was a healthy rivalism for them to each have a better body. Now they look at each other's body. One, he's shorter than the other now. He can't grow taller. So he's looking at the other person. He's like, oh, look at me, look at the other. Now he has hatred in the other person for no reason. So when you rival with someone, it has to be in the right manner. You have to make sure your heart is pure. And that is it, inshallah. To summarize, forgive your brothers and sisters. Forgive. You don't want to go and see your good deeds gone. Right? You don't know what you have done in someone's heart for them to not forgive you. And the other one, keep a pure heart. Keep a pure heart. This dunya is nothing at the end of the day. As much as I say, the Prophet Muhammad said this dunya is like a person who has sat under the tree, took a nap and continued. Is it really worth it for that much? For land, for this type of problem? Is it really worth it? Ask yourself at the end of the day. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون واذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم واتقوه يجعل لكم من أمركم مخرجا وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واستقيموا يرحمكم الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما لي دين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. What about the slide? I haven't seen it.
In some conference in
What's it called?
yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. There was the bathroom, right? That's it. MashaAllah.
Want it back?
Ah, no. I mean, the bathroom was really nice. Very big, MashaAllah.
Oh, you didn't come.
I wasn't here, I was in Saudi. Yeah.
Oh, you were in Saudi?
Yeah, MashaAllah.
You went for Umrah?
Yeah, it's actually from Hajj, I got this topic because, well, the smallest problem to there, I don't know what's the sneeze, but for you, people are, they have no patience whatsoever. This, they start yelling, and they start, oh, why is this so much? And I always try to look at this person, it's not that deep, that it's already rich here for Hajj.
Was the worst in Egyptian or?
It was the Turkish, not just Turkish, but that kind of Bosnia, Palestine, all that area, and the Egyptians, 100%. Yeah. I'm just saying, anyone ask me if I'm from Mina, I'm from Sudan. I did qualify with the Egyptians.
There was a disaster this year. I think 600
I was
Egyptians
saying
died.
the following, we were sitting down, there was some lady, some guy actually, we were looking at him, we thought he was asleep because there's so many people on the floor. He was dead, just laying next to you, on the street, dead. People are falling down left and right. And now Alhamdulillah, the one we were going with, some lady broke her foot, and we tell her, calling the ambulance lady, it was an hour. He's like, that's the least of your problems. Why are you asking me? You broke your foot. Sit down in the bus and stop talking. The guy was yelling at her, the police officer. He's like, we have people dying, and you're over here talking about your foot. Yeah. I was like, okay, man, relax. Even him, she's in pain, he's yelling at her, telling her, you're calling me over here all the way here for this, for someone who could have died. And I understand because he has to come all the way. But yeah, alhamdulillah.
It's the both parties actually.
Huh? Both parties have
Both parties actually, because a lot of people they come without any knowledge or anything. Keep pushing, keep pushing.
Yeah, yeah. And the Saudis don't have a good
And authority.
Management,
yeah, management. The people that they would kick out of, they would go to hotels, full police and everything, and raid the hotels. Where's your thing? Where's your tasriyah? Put them all on buses and get them out of Mecca. Guess what would happen? As soon as they get out of Mecca, the people get out of the bus, they hop in another bus and they come back.
Allah.
Yeah. And the police know this. The police know this because I know we were sitting in the Hamlet and there was this guy he's talking on the phone with another bus driver. He said, yeah, you have to pay them 300,000 riyal and they let you pass back in.
300,000.
300,000, yeah. Wow. But no, the taxi driver, he's making like 1,000 riyal.